We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Tedi Kushi, Western Michigan left tackle, coming to the Miami Dolphins as an undrafted free agent, along with Addison West 75 right there. So two Western Michigan kids. Already did a video on West, so check that out. But Kushi, another guy that I think has some potential, some swing tackle potential. Like he is a tackle only prospect, listed at 6'5" and 3/8, 302 pounds. So not pretty average size, but he's got really good arm length. He's got over 34-inch arms. Love the movement skills. That's where he really fits the team. Is he is a quality athlete, similar to a lot of the old linemen they've been bringing in. I think he needs to add some play strength to his game, kind of similar to what Meyer was last year, but he was interior guy. I think Kushi does a really good job with his feet, and then resetting his hands, understands how to use his arm length, just getting in that gym, putting on some extra muscle. But there's a lot to like with his game, especially when it concerns fitting into the Dolphins system. And I think that gives him potential to be a guy that makes the back end of the roster, or a priority practice squad guy that you keep to develop, because your tackle depth isn't great right now, and he does a lot of things that I think the Dolphins definitely value at that spot. So we're going to break this down. I think he's got some tools to work with in both pass pro and the running game that are very, very nice. So we'll watch this. I think he does a pretty good job reaching here. He opens up open up the hip there. Pretty good feet. First step, you can kind of see he's got pretty good explosiveness out of there. Is able to cut off, get on the backside there very quickly. And he's this guy, he gets across his face so fast, he expects the tight end to go help. I don't know what the tight end's doing here, but such good ability to cut off that he helps there. Boom, eyes up, finds the backside guy, gets his hips across. Does a pretty good job with his hand placement for the most part. But I think that lateral quickness first step is a big part of his game, and he does it with pretty good body control with imbalance, which is a big part, I think, of what you need on the O-line. Good job on these specific scenarios. Addison West also cuts off there. I mean, the running back kind of makes the wrong read on that play. Just some really good job with hips, torque, all that. I think he could do a better job, I think, with grip strength and sustain Kushi in these scenarios. But yeah, lots to like, I think, on these run reps when it concerns on cutting on the backside of these outside zone concepts. So that's very nice. Also, leave a like on the video. It helps, with the YouTube algorithm and all of that. Leave a comment below of what you think. We got another rep. I think, in pass pro, he's very, he's got good explosiveness, I think, out of his stance. Good kick step. He stays pretty under control. I think, maybe you'd like to see his pads stay a little more square to the line of scrimmage. But he does a good job overall, I think, with his initial hand placement. He uses his length well. And then he does a really good job resetting his hands. So I think that this is where sometimes when you do lack maybe grip strength and sustain, the ability to reset your hands and refit them are always nice, because you're constantly hand fighting these edgers, defensive tackles. Guy slaps his hands away, and the fact that he's able to reset them, because a lot of them times when people get their hands slapped like that, they can lose the rep in those situations. They can lose balance, but he stays under control. He's leaning a little bit, but he's able to just boom, not panic. Go back, reset those hands, use your length, kind of widen him by. This is where it is tough to beat him to the outside because of that length and ability to, he has range, throw them by, let them run the arc too far. He is very good in those situations, and he plays with just good feet. He usually has a pretty good base. I like his base. He plays with pretty good knee bend as well. Those are quality parts of his game in pass protection. Here's a solid rep. This is something I think you got to be able to do in the Dolphin system. They're doing more of a mid-zone action here, but being able to attack the low hip. I like saying this: attack the low hip. This is what I want to see. He literally gets in that hip, which allows you to displace the defender horizontally here. Which, if you can move a guy horizontally that much with displacement, and you're not really the strongest guy, sometimes it's what it is about working those combos, and then also getting to the next level. So getting down on that 2i, and then getting to the next level, get your eyes up, get your positioning to then sort of seal and cut off number 10, getting the hips across, being able to flip your hips open like that, shows some hip fluidity. That's a very quality rep, something you maybe not that exact situation with what the Dolphins do, but being able to kind of slide down, work a combo, get to the second level. That's something that I think is a part of his game for sure. Here's another example, kind of similar thing, but this is working from play side, working a combo. Kind of drop that shoulder into the 3 tech, allow your guy to get control. You know, I think he does enough there. Maybe could have done a little bit more, but he does help his guy get in position, and then he's able to get up to the second level pretty well. He's playing with pretty good like pad level here. Some guys will play like a little bit too tall, but because he's able to get up, get his hands on, kind of square the guy up, and now get his hips across. Uh, Now he's kind of relying on feet. I just think, yeah, when he gets in these situations, he just has to do a better job of being in control and sustaining these blocks. Because I think sometimes they kind of will slip past him. And when you're playing Western Michigan, like that's sort of the question mark you will have watching these guys is the level of competition. Now he did get to go against some higher level competition. That's why I think I feel slightly better about Addison West because in that Ohio State game, Addison West played center and looked really good. Kushi didn't like get like torched in that game, but I just feel like he didn't look as good as some of maybe the other plays. So that is something to kind of keep notice of. Um, Backside, this is something that like it's not exactly being on like the backside outside zone, but it's kind of the similar where like sometimes you're not gonna be able to cut everyone off, like their hat's gonna get across from you, and just being able to like ride them down horizontally, basically use some leg drive. Does a good job, I think, with his placement. He brings hips to hips, which is good, which is usually what you want to see in these situations to actually create some movement and allow you actually to sustain these blocks. And it allows you to move that guy down the line of scrimmage enough laterally, which is something you have to be able to do when you're going to be in a heavy outside zone system. This one's fun. He kind of, has to recover. He does some hand fighting. Pretty, I feel like, he looks comfortable out of his stance. He does a good job mixing up some of his sets here. Like he shows like he might jump set him and then goes more into his vertical set, which kind of freezes the guy. Now he gets in a hand fight situation. Hand fighting, he's able to reset the guy, kind of gets him to the corner here, but he's able to recover just enough and makes the guy widen and allow your QB to step up there in the pocket. So not one that I would deem like a super positive rep, uh, but not a negative rep really either. He kind of is able to recover, not get beat in those situations, which is nice to see. Just solid rep here. Eyes looking for the edge, doesn't see 22 coming, finds the next nearest inside guy. Boom. Hand placement, uses his full length, get 2 hands inside that sternum on 99 here. Good placement. Now he's able to reset that one hand, and he's just in complete control. He's got good knee bend. He's playing with a good base. Actually able to sustain with really good hand placement. That's going to be tough for him. This angle right there. Look at 73. Movement skills out in space on some, I believe, like some toss action. So basically they're running some pin pull, and he's get to see the movement skills out in space, gets it body, puts a DB to the ground. That's what you want to see. These are all traits that really translate to what Miami likes to do. I think the athleticism, the arm length, he's not quite like Patrick Paul. I actually think, he's probably was a little more technically sound than Patrick Paul, and Paul has just more physical and athletic tools. But he has that sort of thing where like he has the length, he has the athleticism. These are the types of guys you want to try to develop, whether this is a practice squad, low end of roster guy. Like I think there's, a real scenario with stuff like that. Get pushed back a little bit here, but I do like the explosiveness out of the stance. He looks really comfortable. You can just see, like, compared to everyone else, like, he's exploding out of his stance. Good footwork, good base, good initial hand placement, and then he's able to reset. The guy kind of gets underneath him a bit, kind of has to anchor. Then look at him reset those hands. Reset those hands to get back in position, refit them. And then, maybe you want to see a slightly earlier anchor, but it's not like, I don't think he has the greatest anchor and play strike, but it hasn't been like a huge detriment to the film yet for him. I think, maybe going against tougher competition, though, at the next level, that's where he'll kind of struggle. Good hips and torque in this spot. Kind of, able to work the pin. They're working pin pull again, left guard's pulling. You just want to pin this guy. Does a good job kind of working that torque, high hand, low hand. Keep your positioning. You don't need to always move people completely. I want to see more displacement in these situations from him, but he is able to hold his own long enough. Allow that guy to work to the outside. Here he is picking up a stunt, which is good. Pass this off. He stays patient. Kind of explode. Look at him redirect his feet too. He's able to redirect the feet to the inside because he sees this guy slanting. Understand what's going on. Pass it off to the guard. Throw him off, and then able to redirect again back to the outside. good use of length. Like he's fully extended. You gotta love. I love when a guy that has long arms actually uses his length, because sometimes guys who have long arms don't always utilize their length to their fullest potential. So those are the things I really like. The movement skills and the length are always going to be things. And it's not like he, I think, has like super other like big problems. I'm like, oh, he's never going to develop all around. Like here he is cutting people off, constantly resetting, being exactly where he needs to be, getting to his angles. Here's another good example of what you can do on these like sort of outside zone situations. Not exactly what you would be doing in Miami, but it sort of fits in that same sort of style where he's working the combo. Use that inside hand, use that length, allow your guy to cut him off, and then get to the linebacker. Last time when we got to linebacker, he was able to cut him off. Linebacker's able to cross his face this time. He sees that. Now just ride him out. Ride him, get him out of the screen. He's completely washing him horizontally the opposite way. Uh, and then that's what you're trying to do on these situations that you would be doing in Miami. When you're getting to the second level, sometimes you can cut them off, sometimes you're not going to be able to. Then you want to wash them down. Allow your running back to make a read off of you. And I think he does a good job in those situations. So Cushy's actually a better, I think, UDFA prospect than the last few guys that I made videos on, because I thought the last few were like more either practice squads or guys that might not even make the practice squad. But I think Cushy's like a guy that like will be like a priority practice squad and then maybe even make the roster depending on the situation with the O line room. Uh, the tackle depth isn't great. You kind of have like Keon Smith, Larry Bourne behind them, but I do think they really like Keon Smith. I like Keon Smith too, but he is coming off the injury, so that's like the biggest question mark with him. And they also have Larry Bourne, who they kind of guaranteed that contract to, so I don't think they're going to cut him. And he also has like guard versatility, so I think that kind of gives those two that advantage, which will give Teddy a tougher battle. But those guys aren't like unbeatable, so we'll see how it ends up playing out. So if you just remember that, comment, subscribe, and